Hello there, Eagles fans, and welcome back to our Eagles Therapy Podcast. My name is Basil.
And I'm Baz.
And we are recording Wednesday, April 10th, 2024. Got my Philadelphia Union shirt on today. I know a lot of people, if they look at the thumbnail, they're going, why is that guy not wearing an Eagles shirt?
What's going on?
It's all right. I got my Philadelphia Union shirt on today. I'm a big soccer fan, so they got a game coming up. They're playing on Sunday this week. I know that's not why we're here, but I want to talk about that real quick. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the draft today. Last episode, we talked about some of the positions we thought we would draft, what we wouldn't draft. Today, I'm going to talk about some players I want to see us draft, maybe a player I don't want to see us draft, stuff like that. And then we'll go over our other sports, but it should be a pretty quick episode. You ready, Dad?
I'm ready.
Yep. It's good to do something. I feel like if we don't do these podcasts, what are we doing with football? There's just not much happening. You know what I mean? We're not really mock draft guys. Maybe I'll do one. For it, but I don't know. I don't really know.
Well, it's like having the Sweet 16 bracket.
Yeah,
it's over after the third game. So way to spend 3 hours.
That's true.
Yeah.
As always, let's give a little plug to the club. We are part of the Philadelphia Eagles fan club in Colorado Springs. That is the name of the page on Facebook. So if you'd like to join it, we watch every Eagles game, and we will be watching the first day of the draft at Frankie's on Powers and Galley here in Colorado Springs. Please come on down and see us so we can say hi and welcome you to the group. And if you're already part of the group, we hope to see you there.
And if you're new, come on down because we'd really love to, before the season starts.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Say hello and give you the heads up.
Definitely. No for Eagles free agency to go into. No changes. We talked about all the extensions. There's no guys that are new, so we're good there. Well, actually, let's throw something in here real quick. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Dad, why haven't the Eagles signed Devontae Smith yet?
Well, I think they're working on it. I just saw a couple of things. Calvin Ridley, $23 million. This other guy, $20 million. He'll probably end up getting $25 million. I don't know. I think they're just negotiating a little bit. It's probably going to be a 4-year, $100 million, $94 million, something like that, $90 million.
Yeah.
So, it's all going to be about how much is he going to get for the down payment or whatever they call that, and then how much it's going to cost against cap.
Yeah.
So
a 4-year 96 would be good.
Yeah.
What's that, 23 a year?
23, yeah.
Or I'm doing my math wrong, probably.
Yeah.
Or 96 a year. I don't know. Or not 96 a year. But I think 4-year 96 would be right.
Right.
Because AJ, was he a 4-year 100?
That'd be $24 million a year.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's about right.
He's at 25.
He's a 25? Okay.
Yeah. But, make it $100 million, but give him the nice down payment and then just spread it out over 4. And
it's just hard because right now is the time you want to sign him. Because next year, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, all those guys in that draft.
It's going to blow up.
Brandon Ayuk, those are the next guys to be signed if Brandon Ayuk doesn't leave right now. But those are the next 3 guys to be signed next year.
Right.
And you really don't want to have to deal with Devontae Smith, extending him after JJ and all. He knows he knows he's not going to get as much as those guys, but it's better for them to wait. It's right. We need it now.
I've looked at some of his rankings. He's like top 20, but of course we know,
it's 20.
It's and then if you whittle it down, he's like top 16 or, he's definitely not top 10, but that doesn't matter because it's just a matter how the team is doing, how many catches you get and what's transpiring. So luckily he's a team player. He goes up for those hard catches. Yeah. He doesn't pull the prima donna type thing like some of these other guys that keep getting traded around the league and moving to different teams all the time.
Well, hopefully the extension doesn't happen tomorrow when this episode releases.
Right.
But hopefully maybe it happens on Friday that we can record. We can record Friday or Saturday.
Yeah, definitely pre-draft. You got to get it before the draft so we know where we stand.
All right, let's go ahead and jump over to some fun news that we got today. Obviously, everyone out there, if you're an Eagles fan, you knew the Eagles were going to be playing their first game in Brazil. Much to many people's chagrin, a lot of people aren't very happy about it, especially the people I follow on Twitter. They're not very excited.
About the game or the opponent?
About the game being in Brazil.
Yeah.
It is a bummer we lose a home game. Now, we don't live anywhere near Philly, of course, so it doesn't change that much for us.
They're all away games for us.
They're all away games for us. Obviously, it does stink in the sense that you lose a home game, so you lose, that home crowd gets one more. But, I don't know. At some point, every team will be playing out of the country, so everyone's going to lose a home game soon. So it's just our year to do it.
It's the first game of the season, which I really like. Get it out of the way. dodged the bullet for years, man. Not getting, how many years do you hear before this? Oh, I think this is the year the Eagles are going to play in whatever.
Yeah.
So it's finally going to happen. We finally got to play. I know we did it once, like 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, against Jacksonville, I think, right?
Yeah, we played against them in London in 2018. I think.
Yeah, so it's been a long time, and it's not mid-season. It's not going to. It's the first game of the season. You're going to be well rested. You're going to be able to time it the way you want.
Yeah. And I agree with you. Being the first game of the season just makes it so much better.
Yes.
They can do they're not limited to travel with the next. Well, let's talk. We didn't talk about the opponent. Let's talk about the opponent.
Okay.
So it was revealed today we're playing the Green Bay Packers. I think it's a fun opponent. I think that's going to be a fun game next year, and for it to be in Brazil on national TV, I think it was a good idea for them to do that. 2 young NFC quarterbacks going at it.
Well, let me stop you there. I don't think it's on national TV. It's on
Peacock. I'm sorry, you're right. It's
Peacock only. And local markets, I believe.
That's fair. Okay,
but I got Peacocks on it.
Peacocks, yeah. Okay, yeah, I forgot. Sorry, not on national TV, but still, a Friday night game. It's the day after the beginning of the season. Right. I might have to take off that whole Thursday to Monday.
Yeah.
Just request that whole Thursday to Monday off, just for us to record. We're going to have to record the night before, the day of, the night after. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that'd be fun to do. That way we don't have to do a 1 hour episode. We can do 320s or something like that. But we'll see. But still cool. How do you feel about it being Green Bay? You excited? You think it's? Is it a good opponent? You think?
It's not going to be. Oh my gosh! Look at how great they were in a playoff. It's a new year. It's the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
It's week 1. Let's see how the offenses and defense click. Oh, the defense is going to be ahead of the offense. Or we talk about this every year. We'll see. I'm glad it's. They talked about it being Cleveland. I really don't care who it is.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you want to win the game. That's about all I can say. But it's going to be, I think it's a good opponent. It's going to be a lot of buzz. There's going to be a lot, we win that first game. We're 1-0. You're going to get a lot of that. Oh, they moved up 2 spots in the rankings, which we don't care about either. But yeah, it's going to be exciting. They played well last year, but last year's over. It's a whole new season.
What are the chances we go
to the game?
Yeah.
0.
You say 0?
Yeah.
Okay, you're right.
I'm not going to Brazil.
Not a chance. No. Not in September. Not a chance. True. Yeah, I think it's a good game. I think it's a good opponent for that kind of game. I think it's fun. I think it's good. I think it's good that it's an NFC matchup. It's teams that have been good the last 2 years or so. We of course had the great year in 22. Not so good for a while in 23, and then they were bad at the beginning of 23, and then great at the end of 23. So it's kind of funny, but I think it's a really good matchup for a.
But this year I think I'm going to get away from the whole. Oh, we're going to go 8-10. We're going to win every game. It's just it's too much. It just doesn't make any sense anymore. When I say, oh wow, I wish we were playing Cleveland because no, it doesn't matter. That could have been a great. They might have. It's the first game of the season. They might be amazing this year.
The biggest thing I want to get away from this season. And I know I'm not going to get away from it. No. The biggest thing I want to get away from this season is caring about other teams winning. That has been our thing for the last, forever.
Yeah.
And we've always been, obviously there's going to be the main ones like your division. You don't want to cheer for, obviously we want Dallas, New York, and Washington to lose. That's just natural. But the ones outside of it, we always go, we need the Saints to lose because we have their pick. We need the Cardinals to lose. We need, and it's like, it's too much. Now I know I'm not going to get away from that. It's going to happen again.
Right.
But I want to get away from it.
I know what you're saying because we last year we did we did the rooting guide. We read the rooting guide. We put a lot of sense into the rooting guide, and then to be disappointed because Cleveland lost to whoever
Baltimore
in the fourth quarter.
I have to be upset.
I agree. I agree.
Okay, let's go ahead and jump over into the draft thoughts. So like I said, last time we were here, we talked about positions. We kind of ranked our least likely to most likely positions. At the end of it, we ended up having – did we have the exact same one right here? Okay, it was defensive end, cornerback, and offensive tackle. So what I chose was I chose 2 offensive tackles, 2 cornerbacks, and 1 defensive end to talk about.
So let me clarify. You had offensive tackle being your first –
I think it's the most likely
most likely for us to draft.
Like I said before, I want us to draft a corner, but I think it's more likely we draft a tackle.
Right. And second was corner. And third was defensive end.
Yes, because we always draft a defensive end. But
because as
in the first round,
as fans, I'm like, oh, I want the best linebacker. That's kind of but it doesn't work that way. No. And you can't do it for a number of reasons.
We might get the second best linebacker in the second round. We might be able to get the first best. We might be able to get the best linebacker in the second round. I think that's very possible.
I agree.
I digress. We'll talk about that later.
I know what you're saying, though.
For the first pick, let's talk about some players. So starting off with the offensive lineman, I got 2 offensive tackles. Number 1, J.C. Latham, offensive lineman from Alabama. J.C. Latham, he's 6'5" 3/4, almost 6'6". With his shoes on, he's 6'6" or whatever.
Right.
Big dude, 342 pounds. That was at his NFL Combine measurements and everything like that. Big dude with a lot of ability to move. He's been not compared by the NFL, but by Eagles reviewers and scouters and stuff like that, as similar to Jordan Mailata in the sense of his size and his agility to move, his ability to move around. I think if we were to get a tackle, he'd be the one I'd like to see. He's from Alabama. You know how I am with Alabama. Yes. You always draft an Alabama offensive lineman. Every draft, you should be drafting a guy that played at Alabama at least 1 year of his career.
Like you say, top 5 teams at the end of the season, but that type of program player. Now, you know what I always like to know? How many years has he started?
Yeah. So
how many games has he missed? What's his major injuries, if he's had any?
No major injuries to speak of.
Excellent.
Nothing listed out. His first year, he played in 14 games, but as a backup, so he was not a full starter his freshman year. In 2022, he was a starting right tackle, and then he played the entire 2023 season. Nice. So that's really all you got to say.
2-year starter.
Correct.
And now he only played 3 years of college football.
Correct. 21 to yeah.
That's about the way it works now.
I like that, yeah. Not too much tread, but enough.
Right. Enough knowledge, enough gained experience. Yeah. Exactly.
Next offensive lineman, I have Graham Barton from Duke, another tackle, like I said. He was a second-team All-American last year and a 2-time first-team All-ACC. Now, this is, of course, Duke, like I said. A little bit on the opposite side. They're about the same height. He's 6'5" 3/8" or something like that, so he's 6'6", basically.
Right.
But he's 313 pounds, so a little on the lighter side. His weight is more around Lane Johnson weight. So, as you can kind of see, this guy, he's a little bit more Lane Johnson-y. The last guy, he's a little bit more Mailata-y. Now, of course, I shouldn't compare anyone to Mailata.
No, he's just an anomaly.
But, yeah, big dude. He played center in college. He played some guard. He played some tackle. So mostly left tackle in his career. But he's played a lot of different positions, got a lot of versatility behind him, which I think is a big thing you like to see in an offensive lineman.
So they say anything that he's possible to play right tackle at the next level?
It's most likely, tackle position. He's most likely being...
Because there is a big difference, between right and left.
There is. I'm sure he's more of a true left tackle than Latham is. Latham is a right tackle kind of guy.
Gotcha.
So I think if we're drafting a tackle, we would be drafting Lane Johnson's backup.
Right.
Or his successor, eventual successor. Yes. So J.C. Latham, to me, is more likely. Now, both of these guys are expected to go between the 18th and 26th pick, stuff like that.
Right in our wheelhouse.
So in our wheelhouse, maybe a little bit before.
Any guard experience?
What was that?
Has he had any guard experience?
Graham has.
Okay. Because you know what I'm thinking.
I don't think Latham has.
Because, unless Lane goes out, he's not going to see the field. But in a situation where he can slip in, he has been hurt.
Lane is a missing a game every once in a while guy.
He has.
He's notable for that now.
It's true.
2-3 games a season, it's going to happen, unfortunately. But
it is.
Those are my offensive line choices, players that I like. Like I said, I don't want us to draft a lineman. I think it's very likely we do, especially because it's a very deep tackle and offensive lineman draft. But I'd rather us see a corner come off the board for us, which let me go ahead and just jump over to the corner.
We never do that. We haven't done that, I don't think, ever.
Never. Number one player I like, and it's a player that a lot of people like, so it's not like I'm alone in this. It's Kool-Aid McKinstry. I've expressed my interest in this kid.
Right.
Let me get his size right here. I have it, sorry.
I've heard about him.
6'1", 180 pounds. Not huge, but it's pretty darn good. He ran a 4.47 at his pro day, at Alabama's pro day. It's a good player that you like to see, and I'll talk about some stats for him.
He's got some size.
Yeah. So he's played 3 years of college, all at Alabama.
Okay.
Here we go with Alabama again. There's another player from Alabama people are talking about.
Yeah.
But
how can't you?
Yeah, I know.
These guys are in the national champion every year.
Yep. So played 3 years at Alabama, 15 games, 13 games, and 14 games. So he played all the time. Interceptions, not many, just 2 interceptions in the 3 years. But that might have been because he was knocking the ball down even more. He had 23 passes defensed in his career there at Alabama. Like I said, 4.47, not the fastest dude, but nowadays it's funny. These guys don't run as fast as they actually are. You know what I mean?
I do, yeah.
They're faster than their 40-yard dashes. It's just how
running, and then you got the field experience, field speed,
football speed.
Football speed.
It's very true. Very true.
So breakability, how fast can you cut?
Yeah.
What's your makeup speed? You know what I mean? They have it. They have it all. These guys.
Now another player I'd like to draft. Actually, before Kool-Aid McKinstry, if he's there. Now, I don't think he will be there by our pick. I think he's going to go earlier than a lot of people think, is Cooper DeJean. I'm sorry. DeJean, I don't know. I'm sorry. Guy from Iowa. Another dude with some pretty good size. I got him right here at 6'1", 203 pounds, almost 6'2". I think it was like 6.5 inches, wow. 6'1.5". Good size. 203 pounds. I like that weight. It's not over. It's not under. That's a good size for a cornerback. Like Kool-Aid, 4.42, ran a 4.42. Not the fastest dude, but also not this. That's a great speed for a cornerback. Yeah. And if he's a lockdown corner, what does it matter? You know. So in his career, played 30 games at Iowa. All with them. A lot of interceptions, had 7 in 3 years. None his first year, but he didn't play much. He only played in 7 games, probably a backup mostly. Sure. And then had 7 interceptions his next 2 seasons. 13 passes defensed over his next 2 seasons. Like I said, rookie year, it's not much. Right. No sacks, so not a big blitzer, but we'll see. Maybe we can make him into one. For a guy who's 203, you'd like to set him at the quarterback every once in a while. Sure. So I like Cooper DeJean. I'm sorry, I don't know. Right. I like him a little bit more than Kool-Aid. I just think that DeJean might go earlier than people do expect. Now, another corner that I'm not hoping for, I don't want to say not hoping for.
He's a big name.
If we got him, I wouldn't be upset, okay? He's from Clemson. His name's Nate Wiggins. He's 6'2". Now, here's the catch. He weighs 173 pounds.
Wow.
Little light. Now
6'2"? 173?
Yeah.
Wow.
Now he's a tall guy, but he's a skinny guy. Yeah. Now I should have learned my lesson. I probably should just say, hey, size doesn't matters not, like Yoda said. But because Devontae Smith has proved everyone wrong with his size, he can do anything. Yes. The big thing about Nate Wiggins, he does run a 4.28. So he's insanely fast. Yeah. One of the fastest players at the combine. So that's always a good thing you like to see.
Too. When they're 180, they're super fast like Deshaun Jackson was. Yeah. But they don't have the size. Yeah. But they're super fast, or you're going to have both. And like you say, for guys like that, coming up to make some hits and tackles, you kind of want to see a little more size.
That's the thing. I don't love the size part of it, but he is really good. And then there's another guy named Terrion Arnold. He's the Alabama cornerback from the other side of Kool-Aid. Now, he's going probably top 15. So unless they're looking to trade up, which I don't think they will be looking to trade up. But, they probably will. I don't know. You know what I mean? You're like me. We always like to say, let's just be happy with where we are. But it's incredibly likely we do trade up. So I don't know.
But, through the years, we've picked up the tackle, we've picked up the center, which, we picked up this guy. We've never gone for that lockdown first round corner. A lot of teams do it, and a lot of success in the last so many years. Yeah. So, it may be something that I'd like to see him do one of these years. But then again, if it's a miss, you're in trouble.
Absolutely. And then next guy I have is a defensive end, Chop Robinson, played at Penn State. Another big dude, 6'3", 250 pounds, kind of an edge outside linebacker guy. He's listed as a linebacker and defensive end, but I think he's going to be more so of an edge guy. Right. He also had a pretty good career with Penn State, 11.5 sacks over his time, 20 tackles for loss, which is great.
That's huge.
60 total tackles in, I think, 30 games played? Yeah. 30 games played? 8, 12, 10? Yeah, 30 games played. I know, I'm bad at math. Everyone. Okay. Sorry. A couple forced fumbles, couple fumble recoveries. I think he's got
any TDs?
No, I don't think
so. Okay, I'm just checking.
I don't have any listed on here, unfortunately. No defensive touchdowns. Dang it.
I like those.
I know, me too. Ran a 4.48, but like I said, mostly a defensive
end, 4.48? Wow, that's speed.
Man. 250 pounds at 4.48. It's pretty incredible. Yeah. I wonder if he might be a player that might play off ball sometimes. I'm not too sure. So he could be a linebacker kind of both ways, outside and
speed, right?
He does.
So, he could cover a little bit. The quick covers, tight ends or whatever.
Absolutely. And if we did go for Chop Robinson, he's not expected to go as early as our pick, so we would probably be doing a trade back if we were to get him.
For that.
So let me ask you, Dad, what are the odds we do trade up? What's the percentage we trade up?
I say the odds that we trade up are better than 50% because that's just what Howie does.
I would agree.
Unfortunately, I know, hopefully we're not giving away. I mean, I'm very, very protective of my picks. It's funny. But I'd like, every time they do it, I go, oh, we gave away a third or fourth. Because, you just, in my opinion, any more in the draft, you could pick up a great player anywhere in the draft. As we've seen in the last 5 or 6 years in these drafts now, these 6-rounders, 7-rounders. So, I've always say don't throw away a pick. Don't just go take a flyer on a guy. Like every round, you got to make sure that you do your vet. Yeah. You're vetting this guy and making sure he's got everything you need. And a lot of times, and how I feel about late round quarterback picks. You could have had that guy. You could have had that guy. I mean, look at some of the guys that have been drafted in the last 5 years.
McLaurin.
Yes. DK, right? DK was
second round, and it's not.
Just guys that when you just don't throw away a pick. I mean, I know we're going to have some extra picks, and a 7th rounder you can throw in or whatever, but depends who we get.
We've talked about it. We have 5 5th-round picks. There's no way we walk away with 5 guys in that. Yeah, it's not possible. No. We have 2 2nd-rounders. Very likely one of those is getting used to get a 2nd-rounder next year, or maybe another 1st-rounder this year in a package. I don't know.
But if it's a deep draft for said type player, let's pick one of those. Let's get 2 of them. Let's hold on to those 2nd-round picks. We're going to be getting a 2nd-rounder in 26 when Reddick hits his numbers. So
true, yeah, that's right.
I mean,
All right, you got anything else on the draft you want to talk about? Any other position?
I'm looking forward to it, but, hopefully, there's so much buzz. There's so many players that are picked. Now they're talking about first 4 players are going to be quarterbacks, and I was telling you earlier, 2 of them aren't going to make it, so waste those picks. But
we always talk about it. I mean, there's going to be 6 quarterbacks drafted in probably the first 2 rounds, and one of them will be good.
But maybe. Yeah. But then always the surprise picks. I mean, that's what's great about the draft, right? And then they always say, well, wait 4 years, but they never wait 4 years. They give you a grade 5 minutes after you make your pick. So
it's true.
Why are we waiting 4 years? Just, it's silly.
That's true. Let me jump on some other sports stuff real quick. 76ers, 45-35, got 2 games left in the season. They've won 6 in a row. They're looking great. They have the 7th seed. They're playing the Magic on Friday. In order for them to jump up to the 6th seed, it's a little impossible. They'd have to win both, which I think they will. But then the Pacers would have to lose both, and I don't think it's very likely. So it's a bummer. We are going to be stuck in the play-in. Hopefully we can just win the first game. That means we'd be playing the Bucks instead of the Celtics in the first round, which would be a much better chance for us.
Yeah,
definitely.
I agree.
Next, we got the Phillies. They're 6-6. They lost the other night, but they won. They won today.
Okay.
I was watching the game at work. Not watching. I was paying attention.
It was on.
Yeah. That was the 2nd series win of the season, so 6-6, looking good. I saw before we started recording, it's the first time they won their first road trip since 2011. Like, because they had 2 series on the road trip. The Cardinals, and then before there's the Nationals, right?
Right.
Was the Nationals? They were the Nationals, the Cardinals. It was an away trip. It was a road trip. And it was the first time since 2011 they won their road trip. They won 4 out of 6. They won both series.
First
the
beginning of the
season.
Okay.
Which made me I was like, wow, I can't believe people track that.
Baseball has gotten stats. Right, we were talking about that too before.
They have too many.
Dave, stats for everything. If you're sweat, if you just got your hair cut, if your eyes itchy. I mean, there's so many stats. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's hard to even watch like the baseball playoffs because every player's got 200 stats.
Yeah.
I remember.
I think baseball is also the best at gathering stats from your high school and college. Like with football, they have it, but they don't always have it. Like you can't look up.
Right.
You know what I mean? You can't, they don't always have in the NFL, and in his sophomore year, he did this. In baseball, they have all of it. Back when he was in Georgia, and his high school, when he da-da-da-da-da, and then he batted this his second year, and you're like, oh my gosh, how do you have his freshman team stats? I don't understand.
That's funny, I told you when I was a kid, I used to read the paper every morning. And, you couldn't get stats or scores at night unless you lived in the hometown and were able to stay up and listen to on the radio, which I was not allowed. So, I get the paper in the morning, and I knew all the stats for many years, ERA, saves, just everything. And I think, a lot of the people unlike myself, continued on that path the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
I kind of broke away from baseball many, many years ago. But, really when the family started, it was just too much. I couldn't
too much sports.
I couldn't have everything. So I picked football and stayed with that and dropped the rest. So that's just the way it goes.
Next with the Union, no changes, of course. They only play it's like football. They play once a week. They don't have, in basketball. Since the last time we talked about basketball, they played 4 games, and same with the Phillies. They played 6.
Yeah.
So, the Union haven't played. That's why I wore the shirt, so that the fans know you're still here.
Yeah, but it's funny because they will throw an MLS game in every couple.
During
Wednesday or Thursday. It's rare.
They kind of let them get up to it. So once the Champions League is over and they do all their cup and everything like that, they will go to a Wednesday, Saturday schedule, to where they'll have 2 games a week sometimes, 1 week off, stuff like that. So, it's usually around week 8 or 9, maybe even later, actually.
It's funny how MLS is, though. They're just starting, 4 games?
There's 6 games.
Premier League only has about 6 left for the season.
Oh, wow, yeah.
It's very, they start probably a month after football starts.
Yeah. Who's in the lead there right now?
Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester City. They're all up there, but Arsenal's been the top, but them and Liverpool have been kind of going back and forth, which is kind of neat because it's been Man City for many years now, and Liverpool's been close, but Arsenal, though, it's funny when you meet people and talk to people about it, and, I have a neighbor down the street now, it's an Arsenal guy, and I'm like, oh, wow, they're doing great this year. He's like, oh, yeah, he was so really excited about it. But, we'll see. It's getting close. And
he's got Paramount, doesn't he?
Oh, he's got Paramount, ESPN Plus, Peacock. We were talking about it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's cool.
Good guy.
We're all from Liverpool. No. Next, we got the Flyers. They've lost 8 straight. They're almost definitely out of the playoffs. It's almost no chance they make it. They'd have to win out, and then other teams do this and that and lose and this. I don't have it all, but a bummer because they were locked in for the playoffs for a while. And it's just a bad end to a season because I don't know. They don't get a good pick out of it because they were good enough to be high, and then they ended bad. It's like the freaking Eagles.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Yeah. You got anything else on anything else?
Not really, though, but I'm pretty interested in starting to look at some of these players. I didn't really do much draft homework yet, but, in the next few weeks, I'm going to start paying attention and maybe see if we can at least kind of so when we have a little who you got tonight, who do you think is going to get picked so we can do a little bit of that when we're watching the draft.
Definitely.
It'll be fun.
If only we could do a live feed or something like that.
I know.
We can't because it's a Frankie's video. We can be a Frankie's with our microphones. What do you think of the pick, Steve? Come on, Ben. David, get over here. What do you think of the pick? Rico. Okay.
I agree.
That'd be cool.
That would be fun.
Maybe one day. All right, let's say our goodbyes. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. If you like our Eagles Therapy podcast, do us a favor, rate and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe below. Again, comment down below. Tell us who you want us to draft, who you think the Eagles will draft, who you're begging them not to, whatever you want to do. You can email us any questions or comments at oureaglestherapy@gmail.com. But other than that, from all of us here at Our Eagles Therapy podcast, I'm Basil.
And I'm Baz.
Go Birds.
And fly, Eagles, fly.